More broken plastic over here. Oh, shoot. This is what I was worried about. We just bought this crashed salvage title 2023 Nissan Z, and we're about to take it apart. This is the first rebuild video of a 2023 Nissan Z on YouTube anywhere. So as we're gonna be taking this thing apart, not only are you guys gonna be learning, I'm gonna be learning as well. Looking at the damage, I think I know where we need to start first. This door is absolutely jammed. Literally does not budge at all. Go ahead and try the door latch and nothing. Absolutely nothing. So this is obviously where the door latch handle was. And this, if you pull on it, activates this little wire right in here. Now, if you press this guy up, it should unlock the door. I'm gonna try and use a piece of tape to tape this guy up and then keep trying to pry it apart. While trying to pry this door apart, this little piece of metal was getting really annoying. So we threw on some safety glasses and pulled out the grinder. Went ahead and actually just grinded off the outside part of this door. It's made of aluminum, which is pretty nice. Didn't have too much debris flying around, but this makes it a little bit more easier to work on the door. And then we started cutting around towards the handle and the door latch just to give us a little more clearance, because it was just not happening. Even though we tied up the cable, nothing was moving. Now this tool right here is called a hustler stick, which is a pretty unique name, but it's typically used on radiator supports of cars to bend out metal when you don't have a frame rack. This is a really easy solution. So I figured, let's just tie it up. Let's tie it up and try and jam the door out. So we just sat here doing this over and over again for probably a solid 15 minutes. Not happening. I'm sitting here trying to figure out how to get this to open. And the more I looked at it, I realized something. So if you look at the actual wire assembly that is supposed to lock and unlock the door lock, you can see it's cracked up here for one, but then you see this little square right here. Right there's a little plastic white piece, and watch. When I lift it, it just kind of dangles all over the place. So what that means, and I'm just lifting this little lock here, the door lock actuator itself is broken and it's stuck in the lock position, and I don't think there's any way take it out besides cutting it out. But before completely decimating the lock actuator, I kind of want to cut a little bit more of the door away just so we can see better as to where it's locked, and maybe we'll be able to push something to unlock the door. When I started looking at the actual door lock actuator itself, I just memorized these little two pieces, this little piece, this little piece. It kind of resembles like the old 370Z door latches. And then I remembered that this is a parts bin vehicle. There are so many parts on this car that they used from older model 370Zs, 350Zs. So that potentially could be a door latch. I'm gonna do a little bit of more research, see if it's compatible. If it's compatible, the old latches are like 70 bucks. You can get a used one, a 2009 370Z, and it's the exact same latch. If it's the new one, then we're out of luck. I'm not really sure how, but I just casually somehow started prying this back and was able to take off this entire cover to reveal the actual hood latch system. And I noticed that this piece just kind of came off. I think there's supposed to be a spring connecting these two right here. And that is what would pop the door open. Oh my gosh, you guys. Oh, that's it. Oh, let's go. Okay, so the door is open. It looks like it's jammed somewhere up here. But the fact that this is open, let's flip and go. Yes. Didn't have to cut anything aside from a little bit of the door. Oh, I gotta be careful. I got glass all over my finger. And my hands are itching now. Okay, well, finally we got the door open. It only took about an hour and a half, but finally we got it all open. So let's keep moving. We are finally inside from the passenger side. We can get into the car. So damage report. Looks like this little pillar skin is damaged, which is what we expected.
Doesn't look like the A pillar is damaged at all, which is huge. That's super, super good. Ooh, look at the door split right there. Not gonna lie, I honestly expected a lot more damage on this bottom piece, but I am so glad this is intact. I'm sure it is not cheap from the dealer, and you are not pulling this off of an older Z. Look at that. So it looks like that's where the panel is sealed together. So it's just gonna get cut right here. All the spot welds along the door sill will get cut out, and then it's probably gonna get cut back there, and we're gonna replace this whole skin right here. Some damage right here. It's got a little bit of a rip, and it looks like the plastic actually broke right here. You can see how the leather is kind of bending. I don't know what we're gonna do about that. I'm not gonna buy a new door card because I looked them up, they're about $1,000 for a new one of these. We are currently waiting to get a quote back from the Nissan dealer. I've actually been waiting for a couple days now. I've been calling them. They said that it actually takes them a couple days to get this order piece together because all the parts are pretty much all special order because the car is so new. This is one thing that kind of sucks. Until the parts come in, we just have to disassemble the car. One thing I like about this car is that disassembling it is pretty straightforward. There's just 4 bolts holding the door, and then this one clip that was the entire wire harness for the door. So it just came right off, and because it's aluminum, the door is super light. And then we just got to vacuuming, which obviously there's glass everywhere in this car. I have to clean it up a little bit, and then we got it all vacuumed up. I don't know if you guys remember in the last video, I was praising that this car had this little pillar piece here instead of the regular frame rail. Turns out this piece costs about $800, so I wish the car didn't have this plastic piece. But anyways, we pulled it off here, and then we're pulling off all the rubber gaskets. We're gonna have to replace these because they're all ripped up. Before we actually take off the side skirt, it has some underglow on this side, so I'm curious, I wanna see what the underglow looks like while it's still on. Just gonna get the car into accessory mode here. This, I'm assuming, is what is supposed to connect to the underglow. There's not really anything else. I mean, there's one more wire back here. Connects somewhere to something. There's a little plug right here, but I don't know where it goes because there's another on-off button right here. And when I turn this on the actual button itself, it says push on. So when you push it in, that means it's on. We got it plugged in, push it in. Nothing. It's supposed to be underglow here. No underglow. Not sure why it doesn't work. Could be that we need to start the car. So let's just do a quick cold start. It is so loud. This car is so loud. It got a little bit quieter now. Here, let's give it a couple reps real quick. I got everything hooked up for the underglow, but nothing turns on. Maybe there's an app to control it. I mean, I don't even know if this port works. It's not working. I don't know what it is. Sheesh, look at that. Those headlights look sick. For whatever reason, when you lower it, the hood doesn't line up flush with the fender. I mean, you can see the gap between the fender and the headlight. So it's like almost this whole bottom section is pushed underneath. This whole headlight wobbles. Whereas if you look at this headlight, it's flush. It sits perfectly together. But on this side, it's kind of, there's a gap. First wheel is off, and now we can take a look at the actual coilovers that are used. Check this out. So it looks like it's that same Z, it's either ZI or Z1. You guys can please leave a comment down below on how you say this. It's either ZI or Z1, I can't tell. Gas filled, do not puncture, heat, open, or puncture. Cool. Well, it looks like they're adjustable. I don't have the tool to adjust them, but I'm sure it's pretty easy. So we could actually like raise these or lower these. That's pretty tight. Well, let's keep moving. I mean, it doesn't look like there's much holding the bumper here. Let's go around there. Looks like
the bumper isn't being held anywhere besides this little connection, this upper piece right now. There we go. So we got this little upper piece off. Now we can see underneath. Oh no. I think we might have a little bit. Looks like the crash bar might be damaged just a little bit. All right, I just got the grill taken off here and looking at it. So this is one of the sensors here that was just pulled out. That go right there. I'm glad that that is still here. I'm sure that's not cheap. We got some random wires pulled out of whatever the heck this is. Doesn't look like it's connected to anything down there. So I see that little bit of yellow. It could be like some kind of airbag sensor, but I don't know. Or maybe it's like a temperature sensor or something. This is my first time ever working on Nissan. So this is all very, very new to me, but I'm gonna get that sensor unhooked there. Just looking from above, got this little plastic piece that's broken. That's not the end of the world. We got this random wire that's disconnected. I have no clue where it goes. We got zip ties. Oh, just kidding. It's all part of the design. Nissan uses zip ties, so that's interesting. More broken plastic over here. Oh, shoot. This is what I was worried about. The headlight is cracked. And it's cracked quite a bit. Oh, crap. Guess let's pull off this headlight before we make any decisions. Pull it off. I really want to do my best to save this because I looked it up. I think it's like $1,200 for a new headlight. Let's just keep moving forward here. I mean, doesn't look like the damage is that bad. Hopefully it's all just surface level the way it seemed in the pictures. Look at this. Unfortunately, when it got into the accident, because the car is so low, it rubbed through the fender liner and then it rubbed through the actual washer tank hose. And I have to get a new one of those, which kind of sucks. But then we look at the top of the fender liner, that whole sucker is scraped out. I think I just realized why my Underglow doesn't work on the car right now. So as I'm working the screws, it's interesting because you got this front lip on the performance models. The lip is actually riveted into the bumper. So we're gonna need to take these rivets off, transfer to the new bumper. But as we're making our way down, there's a bunch of 10mm screws we're taking off. Here's one of the connectors for the LED lights, and here's another connector for the LED lights. And so it looks like it's supposed to be a whole closed circuit. Goes around the back, through the skirts, front bumper, and all the way back. But since this part is ripped off, it's an open circuit, and that's why the Underglow lights don't work. First look behind the bumper. So there's a bunch of these weird sensors. I have no idea what they are. They have these yellow connectors, and typically yellow connectors mean airbags. So my theory is that this is an airbag sensor. This is an airbag sensor. There's another one down here and another one up there. You know, what kind of sucks is the fact that they're all held on by these little brackets, but I hope these brackets are all still intact. Looks like they are. And it's weird because they got this weird like felt tape that runs over it. I have no idea why. There's like this weird tape that comes from Nissan. But we got all the connectors disconnected. So now we can pull off the bumper. Just looking at it, I mean, it looks like the crash beam looks pretty dang straight. Kind of looks like everything underneath lines up pretty good. Now we know that this is bent. You can kind of tell right here maybe that it's bent a little bit. But in reality, look at that. I mean, push this back. You can just pull this sucker back up and it's gonna sit perfectly. Check out these brake pads. Sheesh, these calipers are huge. I think these are 4-piston. They got some weird name, but they look pretty good. I can't tell how much brake life is in them. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Yeah, it looks like it's pretty good. So let's continue. Let's try and find some more damage. Now, obviously, we can see the headlight. Headlight split right here. All along the bottom there. Ah, man, that sucks. I still think we can fix this. We can fix this, no problem. Okay, let's keep looking for damage. I was pulling this wire harness off, and look at this, you guys. More zip ties from the Nissan dealer. Like, this is straight up, they got electrical tape and zip ties. This is nuts. I don't know how this is even... How does this leave the dealership like this? This is such crap quality. I think this car has more damage than we expected. I might have spoke too soon. So if we're looking on this side where the damage was, we can see underneath here a bunch of cracked pieces. We got that. This headlight turns out to be cracked right here.
The one that we thought was intact is actually cracked. It's cracked here. There's actually supposed to be the bumper bracket. Looks like this is a bumper bracket that sits right there. There's 3 little points, 1, 2, 3, that it's supposed to screw into. And then it sits like that and it holds the bumper in place. Well, looks like all those brackets are broken. Look at the headlight underneath, cracked all along this edge, up there, up on the edge. And then this headlight, well, I just found this hole while I was showing you guys. Didn't notice it earlier. This is obviously cracked. But what kind of worries me more is how many plastic pieces are cracked beyond just this first piece. Because I was like, you know, this first piece, not a big deal. But then as we look farther in, there's like smushed pieces right here. This whole headlight piece was jumped off, and the headlight was sitting in front of the screw, which was pushing the support back. Now I screwed it back and fixed it a little bit, but we can see the headlight is missing a little guiding pin right there, which that kind of sucks. I guess we'll continue moving forward. Take a look at this Underglow lights. That's some professional grade quality right there. Totally done at a shop. Now we're gonna try and save these Underglow lights, because I think it would look sick once the car is done. Okay, so I think I found what this sensor is for. That makes sense, but it's broken. Shoot, that's what this piece is. So this actual pigtail is broken. Hopefully I'll be able to find one at a junkyard or an old Z, because I'm not buying the whole wire loom. I know dealerships typically don't sell pigtails. Hopefully we can get that fixed. All of these plastic pieces are broken, but honestly, these are just like guides for airflow, which is not that big of a deal. That's it. There's the whole headlight.
Some very relieving news. It doesn't look like we have frame damage. Check this out. We popped off this headlight, right? And I'm kind of looking underneath, and this whole radiator support ain't nothing cracked. Nothing here is bent. It looks like it's actually just these pieces right here that are broken, which we can get replacement ones. It's not even hard. But everything else is intact. There's no other scratches. So I was looking at this piece that holds the headlight, and I was like, shoot, because this piece moved back, and then this is actually part of the fender. Somehow it's all welded together. I took those screws out, but it doesn't come off. So this is part of the fender. But I took one of these screws off, and then I noticed it's cracked right there. So that's the reason why this piece is moving back and forth like this, which that's a super easy fix. We'll just weld that in place, and then boom, whole headlight is sitting in place, which means there's no frame damage. You guys don't understand how big of a relief that is. The fact that the car has no frame damage is super relieving, because then we know we don't have to take apart. I mean, look at how complicated this car is. There is no space to fit your hand to do any kind of engine work or anything. And to get to the actual core support, you have to take apart half the car. This is no Subaru. Like, this thing is like next level. So I'm gonna pull off this headlight too, and we're gonna try and get it fixed here. No frame damage, super happy guy. In order to fix these plastic pieces, we have to use a plastic welder. How it works essentially is you have this little metal plastic staple that goes into this heat gun. Then you press the trigger and it melts the hot staple with the plastic together, just like that. And then once it is all good to go, you just snip off the end pieces and the plastic is set.
We've got the plastics now all in place. You can see the little plastic welds there, and it's all good to go. The frame is there more or less. I talked to the framer. He said we'd be able to get this little bit fixed with a bit of sealer and whatnot, but
this is gonna be a good place to end the video for today. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done, guys, so make sure to smash that like button, comment, subscribe. If you wanna see the whole build, again, this is the first ever 2023 Nissan Z on YouTube. This build is gonna be insane once it's finally done. In the next video, we're gonna take it out for a spin. If everything works correctly, we'll maybe do some donuts, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.